Hey y'all, so we're doing this little thing where we're each recording our own perspectives, and we're going to be doing a common trend around the YouTube streets for Smash Bros. Fans, and that is cutting down the Smash roster in half for a theoretical, hypothetical new addition to the series.
We're cutting the Smash roster down to 40. So, without further ado, let's get going here. I think it's pretty easy to do some pretty. Let's do some pretty easy keeps. Mario, you gotta keep the main man in his own freaking game. It's not his own game, obviously. It's Super Smash Brothers, but it's a Nintendo game. You have to have Mario represented. You have to have Donkey Kong. You have to have Link. You have to have Samus. You have to bench Dark Samus because it's just an Echo Fighter. I mean, Dark Samus is cool or whatever, whole Metroid Prime thing, but yeah, it's not really necessary, so definitely can cut that. Interesting. Okay, so you gotta keep Kirby. Yoshi's an interesting one. I almost feel like you gotta keep the core cast from the original Smash Brothers. I feel like that has to be the case. Now, unfortunately, that does take up, 12 slots of our initial roster.
We gotta go with the easy ones here right out the gate: Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Kirby. Yes, I skipped Yoshi. He'll probably come back in the mix, but Kirby, Fox, Pikachu.
If we were just going on original Smash Brothers rules, I would say Nick's Luigi, but they've done a lot of interesting things to make Luigi unique now. So I think definitely keeping him.
Let's put some people out the pasture. Dark Samus. When we're cutting down a roster, some of these Echo Fighters are gonna have to go naturally. Dark Samus can go. I'm just looking for surefire ones to get out of here. Daisy, she can go. Ooh, this is gonna get tough. Like characters like Ice Climbers are iconic, and it was cool to see them back. But I feel like they might ultimately be cut into 40-person cast. I don't know. They might be unique enough to keep. Sheik, Zelda, oof, it's tough. Dr. Mario will have to go. In my ideal world, if they were making a Smash reboot, they would have actual alternate costumes that would save a lot of trouble. Like Daisy could literally be a skin of Peach with no other effort required. Dr. Mario as well. But for the purpose of this video, if I have to cut down to 40, I'm going to take some easy ones where I can get them. Falco. Oh my god, this is tough. This is tough.
Ooh, okay. I don't know if I want to do a controversial take yet. We'll keep Ness around for now. I think Ness should stay. In fact, Ness being included at all is kind of a giant W for Earthbound fans. Boy, there's so many freaking Pokemon. I don't know. Anyway, Jigglypuff. So what is that? So we got 6, 9. Yeah, we have the 12 original. I should have known that. 12 original Smash Brothers characters. I think that's a pretty good baseline to have to start off in terms of what we want to do here. If I want to make any other adjustments, I think that's a good starting point.
Young Link is going to be cut. And Toon Link will probably be cut as well, even though, for me personally, I love Wind Waker, so it's cool to see him there. But these two were literally only there for the everyone is here representation, I feel like. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Mr. Game & Watch. He's gone. He's gone. Let's be bold. Meta Knight. He can stay. Dark Pit will go. Zero Suit Samus should go. Fuck.
Okay, here we go. Let's start putting some people on the bench. All right, Mii Fighter, you're on the bench. Freaking Piranha Plant, you're on the bench. Let's see, who else should we put on the bench? Freaking Daisy's on the bench. Young Link is on the bench. Toon Link maybe can stay. We'll think about that.
when I saw this, like, they always have the Pokemon trainer laid out separately like this. I was so tempted to just like chuck these three and just leave Squirtle as the character because I love Squirtle. But obviously, I'm gonna say Pokemon trainer in, and I mean I'll say out just because I only have 2 tiers. But really, these are just should not be ranked. I could leave them down here, I guess.
Richter, as much as I love you, you're on the bench. Simon is definitely like he's like the quintessential Castlevania character. He's the oldest Castlevania character. So Richter's probably been in. Has Richter been in more things, or has Simon been in more things? That's actually a good question. I don't know. All right. Ryu bench. Minecraft Steve bench. Min bench. Terry Bogard bench.
Lucas is out. Sonic's in. DDD's out. Alamar's in. Shit. Lucario's out. Rob's out. Wolf might be out. Villager's in.
Joker bench. Actually, I think I would. I'm thinking like the hero from Dragon Quest is better than keeping Joker on. I know Hero's like Dragon Quest 11 or whatever, but the fact that you can play as like the hero from Dragon Quest 3, you can play as Erdrick or Dragon Quest 3 warrior, and as well as the Dragon Quest 8 warrior, or is it 4? Is it the Dragon Quest 4? I don't remember. Yeah, so the Dragon Quest hero is like me. That's like a maybe. I'm kind of borderline on that one. We'll think about that. We'll let that stew a little longer. Okay. Well, here's one thing. Speaking of Pokemon, let's talk about save. I think we should save the Pokemon trainer, and I think something interesting should happen with that. Even though we have the baseline, we have movesets for these 3 and everything. I almost think that they should like switch it up and give him some different Pokemon. Like, give him Incineroar. Another such. Oh, where'd he go? I think that would be more interesting, and you could kind of. It's more expensive, obviously, but to swap out. To like swap the roster out of Pokemon that he's training, but I think that could be really kind of cool, actually. So we'll keep Pokemon trainer. And we're going to bench these 3.
Mega Man. Oh, shoot. Wii Fit Trainer's out. Rosalina's out. Little Mac. Ooh, Greninja is out. I'm just trying to get my easy outs. Robin's out. Get him out of here. Bowser Jr., get him out of here. Duck Hunt, get him out of here. Ryu and Ken. Let's get Ken out of here at least. Corrin, get him out of here. Inkling's in for relevance.
Let's see. Bench Dark Pit instantly. I didn't even see that. Think about that. Don't even have to think about that. Dark Pit is Gown. Boy, should we keep Game & Watch around? I mean, I don't know. He's like, I get that he's like representative of that era of Nintendo when they were making the Game & Watches, but like, is he really necessary? I don't know. I know we just got the Ice Climbers back, but like, I'm almost willing to do the same with them and bench them. Okay, let's see. Dr. Mario bench. Pichu bench. All right, let's go. Let's keep going here. Peach should stay on the roster. Another Mario character. I mean, she's great. Another Mario character. Here we go. Mario should have some decent representation. It is Nintendo's biggest franchise. Speaking of which, Wario should be on here too. I don't know about too many more other than that though. That's the only thing. Maybe a controversial take. I think Sheik should probably be benched. Sheik hasn't been relevant in Zelda for an extremely long time. I know Sheik is very fun to play as, but Sheik hasn't been a part of the like Zelda games since like 2011's re-release or remake of Ocarina of Time.
Isabelle can be out. While I do love Animal Crossing, I don't think it really was necessary to have all other character represented and just be almost identical to the original and not be all that fun to play, honestly. Villager isn't even that fun to play, but just like, for the purpose of Animal Crossing has to be there, and I could see a world where I would like a different character to almost replace him in the Animal Crossing world, theoretically. Incineroar, Incineroar I love as a character, but as like a character in Smash, but he can go. Piranha Plant will absolutely go. Terry, are you okay? No, you're not. Violet is gone. Min Min is gone. Steve! Get the fuck out of the game.
So yeah, we're doing that. We're keeping Zelda. Okay, let's see. Marth, I think, should stay as a representative of the Fire Emblem franchise. Should Marth or should Lucina stay? That might be a big... it might be a bit of a hot take. I don't know. But the thing is, Lucina is like... This is like where it began, or how it started, and where it is now. I could be kind of seen as representative of that. Because Fire Emblem wouldn't still be around if Awakening hadn't done very well. But I think for Legacy, we'll keep Marth and we bench Lucina. I think that's probably the best thing to do. I think we also bench Roy and Chrom. Let's see. Moving right along. Ganondorf should stay. I think it's always good. It's kind of good to say, like, main franchises, you have like main hero, possibly sidekick or heroine, and then villain. I think is always kind of a good thing to sort of like keep in mind. So with something like Kirby, I think having Meta Knight and DDD is a really good idea. Kirby's a really big franchise. It always does particularly well for Nintendo. I think Bowser Jr. should probably be benched. Bowser Jr. is always kind of relevant. He crops up in a lot of the games. I think he was in Mario Wonder. So that's kind of a toss-up. We'll keep it there for now. We'll keep him off for now. Falco, probably a good idea to keep him, but the thing is about these Star Fox characters that they all play almost exactly the same. I know they have all their different little quirks and stuff, like Wolf is especially more different than these two, but like, man, they play almost exactly the same. Like, if there's more to differentiate them, man, I don't know. That's the only thing here. Now, going against my rule that I already made up or kind of guideline. We'll think about that. Pit, absolutely. Palutena, I think she should stay also. I think it's good to have Pit. We need more Kid Icarus games. I mean, keeping Kid Icarus alive, I think would be a good thing.
Kazuyo Mishima on the surface seems like one they would cut. He is very fun, like if you follow the competitive scene, just for how funny he can be. His presence is just crazy with the stuff he can pull off. So I'll leave him just for now. Mr. Me, get him out of here. All right, look at this. I'm being very frugal, giving out, letting things go more than I'm keeping them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 up in the cast so far. We have a lot of room to breathe. I'm just trying to be conservative. Captain Falcon, Jigglypuff, Ness, Bowser, Pac-Man. Look, I do still want some of these big representatives in there. Would be nice, like Joker, Hero. I don't know. Sora. Like, if I'm choosing the cast, I would probably still have these guys in there. Little Mac, Cloud, Roy, Marth, Lucina can go, Ganondorf, Diddy Kong, Snake, Ike, Mega Man. I still want the iconic ones represented. I'll put Luigi in there. I'll put Yoshi in there and Peach.
Oh, Zero Suit Samus? I don't know. Should we go back to making that like a final smash or like a hidden ability thing, like we did in that game? I don't know. Maybe that could be kind of fun. That could be like a way to keep Zero Suit Samus around. But I think Ridley is at least a better keep for now for Smash. I think so much work to get here. So here we do. K. Rool. Speaking of villains, K. Rool should stay. Splatoon obviously should be in the game still. Isabelle or Villager? That's really tough. Isabelle is a more recent Animal Crossing edition from memory. So maybe the Villager should stay. Her moveset is very similar to the Villager anyway, so maybe you could like transport some of those characteristics onto the Villager. I think might not be a bad idea. She's kind of, she's way cuter, I think, than standard Animal Crossing Villager, but yeah, Simon. We keep Simon. I think we already talked about that. That's kind of an easy dub there. Little Mac, I think he should probably stay, but okay, well, let's see. How many we got going on here? Okay, we only have 11 spaces left. Olimar keep. Ike probably shouldn't be. I mean, unless they're gonna freaking release an HD version upgrade of these Fire Emblem games, which is like I'm all on board for them doing that instead of a new game. Just make a duology, an HD duology. Do that. Spend money on that because it will sell. Because these games are too expensive, and this is an extremely beloved Fire Emblem game. So please do that, Nintendo. I want to give you my money. Banjo and Kazooie should stay. Though that might just be more my heart speaking than anything else. I'm not even that big of a Banjo fan, but it's just like a big victory. Like it feels like as big a victory as having Ridley in the game. Maybe even more. We'll think about that. Okay, now speaking of legacy, well, thinking of like core Nintendo characters, Shulk, I think is important to keep in. We can maybe have him. So that's why. Man, Xenoblade 2 is like a big deal, but I almost feel like having some Xenoblade 3 representation would probably work better. I mean, if this is think that this is the add-on to cut them in half, and you can add on from like more modern franchises and things like that. Rob, I feel I should probably be benched. Rob's like, I don't know. Rob's more like, I'm more willing to keep Rob over than Solid Snake. Snake is amazing. I mean, he's an iconic character. I almost think just keeping Snake around just because Kojima wanted him in Melee. Sora, unfortunately, shouldn't stay. Sephiroth. I think if we keep Cloud should. I want Cloud in this game so badly. But we already have some JRPG characters here already. Geez, I don't know.
Banjo-Kazooie is really cool to see there, but what they did with the character was not an entirely fun character, honestly. But it's tough. I'll say maybe no. Maybe they can be a Smash Ultimate Relic. Simon and Richter can honestly go as well, just for the fact of how the characters play. Shulk, I would put in there, even though I don't like playing him for the Xenoblade representation, though I think Pyramithra might be better, but I don't know if they should both still be in there. Let's do them for now. Sephiroth can go. Kazuya for the memes can stay. Bayonetta can go because fuck her. Sheik and no Zelda. I'll be the man to say it. No Pichu. Falco can come. Mewtwo. Alright. I'm going to be cutting some of these, I think, because I don't know what my numbers are at now, but we'll see. I'm just trying to be quick about it. I can't spend all day thinking about each decision here. Let's just see what my numbers are at. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. We just got to cut 5. Right? And then we'll see if I accidentally just immediately disregarded someone who should be in there. All right, let's look at our Fire Emblem representation first of all. Is there too much Fire Emblem? Because that was the problem. I think I took out a lot of the excess fat. We got Marth, Roy, Chrom, and Ike. 4 Fire Emblem characters. This feels good. Marth, Roy, Chrom, and Ike. because they're all distinct enough and different enough between each other that I'm content with those, and they're more noteworthy. I think that's good. Now I put Palutena in there mostly because I enjoy playing her, but I think I will take her out for the purpose of this because Kid Icarus really doesn't deserve 2 representatives, let alone 3 with Dark Pit's ass. 4 more must go. Now we have some of the weird ones, we got Joker, Hero, Sora, Kazuya, Paramithra. There's some like wild cards which I could easily see them going. Ryu in different circumstances, but I like having them all there. There's like the juggernauts of different game series. Joker is cool enough as a character alone that I think he should stay. Hero, not necessarily the coolest character, but some thought put into it. And like Dragon Quest, I love having representation. Sora as well. Little Mac will always suck, that's the problem, but still think it's a cool relic to have. I don't know. Alright, Pyra Mithra will go. Alright, Xenoblade will just be Shulk. I gotta do something bold here, Like someone like Luigi or Yoshi getting cut would be crazy. Snake is another wild card, but I like having him there for variety's sake. Sheik, man. Yeah, I think having Sheik and not Zelda is kind of cool, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Keeping in Robin or... Okay, let's see. We've got 3 houses, Fire Emblem Fates, and Fire Emblem Awakening. Robin is the most interesting, I would say, in the sense that they are the magician kind of swordsman type, which is really kind of unique for a swordsman in this game. I think Link's like a utilitarian, which is fun. Like he's got a lot of range stuff. All melee. Kind of like unique little like what do you want to call it? Feast of Famine kind of mechanics, sort of. I don't even know if I would call it that. So I think like Cloud's interesting because it is a Final Fantasy dynamic, but I think Robin as the Fire Emblem Awakening sort of representation would be cool because he's also more interesting, or they are more interesting because it's male and female. More interesting inclusion. Okay. Mewtwo, Lucario. It's more Gen 1 bias, maybe. But I think Mewtwo is more iconic than Lucario. I like Lucario's like rage mechanic, where the more damage he has, the higher damage percentage that he dishes out. I think that's really great. Oh man, that's tough. I think we keep Lucario in to have a little bit more representation out of Gen 1. Greninja, as much as I love Greninja, I think that's another one that would be fun to like have in the Pokemon trainer that has like a bunch of... Why not have like a bunch of like, yeah. You could even like have the Pokemon trainer like pick their Pokemon at like before the match begins, and instead of swapping them out, you could like just have fully fledged Pokemon in there. That'd be kind of neat. Do the same thing with Incineroar. Super Fighting Robot. Okay, let's see. Other Nintendo characters. We'll just consider Bayonetta more or less a Nintendo character at this point. Sephiroth, no. Byleth, no. Corrin, no. Man. Should Diddy Kong be kept in? Well, how many are we at now? We've got 5 spots left. Okay, now, if we're getting rid of Ice Climbers, I think I like the 2 character mechanic a lot here. I think we keep Rosalina and Luma. So that's 1 spot left. Toon Link, I think having the main core characters there are more interesting. We haven't had like a Toon Link game in forever. Banjo-Kazooie, gone. Bowser Jr., gone. Kazuya, gone. Ryu is like the only fighting game character I think would be pretty sweet to still have in. So we'll put him there tentatively. I'm just kind of at a loss for these Star Fox characters, to be honest. Wolf is like I'm leaning more towards Wolf honestly at this point. But I'll have to think about that. Okay, so where are we at now? So we got 3 spots left. Oh my gosh. Okay, Lucas, I'm gonna say no. Sonic, I'm gonna say no. Sonic, I'm gonna say yes. Mega Man, I'm gonna say no. Pac-Man, I'm gonna say no. Duck Hunt, I'm gonna say no. No. You only have one other JRPG character. Wii Fit Trainer, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna. That's a hard cut, but I'm gonna put Zero Suit Samus out. I think we gotta have Diddy Kong. Maybe it's like too much franchise representation, but like you can't have Diddy without DK without Diddy. I don't think, not anymore. The cat's out of the bag. If we're going, we don't have much third-party representation. Bayonetta, I guess, is a Platinum Games character. Well, I guess. Well, hold on, do we? We really don't actually. Man, I almost want to put Mega Man in here more than Ryu. Actually, Ryu's got his own bag. He's got his own bag now. We can bring Mega Man back, baby. It's fun to have like other fighting game characters in the game, but like we don't need that. We can be our own thing. I mean, I guess you could say that about Little Mac, but Punch-Out's more a puzzle game than a fighting game. Wii Fit Trainer, while a Nintendo character, hasn't been really actually relevant in quite a while, so I'm going to say no. Legacy is really important, but I think we have a lot of Legacy on here already, so I'm going to say no. I was talking about like characters having a foil, or a game that's still relevant because of the remake cycles going on. And just one of the most iconic characters in Japanese role-playing games. Oh boy.
Do we have to cut another Fire Emblem character just for the sake of, like, representation's sake? You know what? I'm cutting Ryu's ass because Kazuya can just be the sole representative of all fighting game characters. How about that? Mewtwo's, like, not the most cool character in terms of Smash Bros. But he is such a cool Pokemon that I feel like he should be there. You know what? Wario can go. Waluigi will take his place in this game. Fuck you, Wario. If Waluigi can't get representation, then Wario shouldn't either. I understand he has his games. I enjoy his games, the WarioWare games, but, you know, that doesn't matter. Not for the sake of this.
Okay, let's see if I like this. I'm going to just Lucario out from Mewtwo. Gen 1 bias, I know, still, but this is where your new generation stuff can come in, I think, in the future. That would be a good call, a good idea. Okay, third-party representation. We've got Capcom, Sega, Konami. In the second party, we got 2 Konami in here. I think we're taking Snake out, baby. As iconic as it is, Kojima's has nothing to do with that anymore, unfortunately. So I think Simon Belmont for Legacy. If that's the case, we can fit Wolf back in here. Okay. I kind of like that. I kind of like the looks of that. Now, how about everything else, though? Let's see. Man. I think that's it. I desperately want Zero Suit Samus to be in the game. I gotta actually almost put Zero Suit Samus in here over some of these other characters, probably. But I feel like this roster just works for me. Capcom, Sega, Square Enix, Konami. It's pretty good, I think. Zero Suit Samus over Cloud. Cloud might be... Man, I don't know. Zach's going to give me so much flack for that, I bet. Because I doubt he has Cloud Strife. But the reason I'm thinking about that is, like, I'm thinking of, like, cutting it in half is I'm thinking of, like, future-proofing the series. And I guess Cloud will become, like, maybe less relevant after the remakes, but, like, run their course. But to me, he's just always going to be the eternal JRPG hero. I think having that in a fighting game is great. Maybe we could kick him off and put Samus in. I think we're going to do it. I think to keep Samus in this game, I think we're kicking Cloud Strife out. Zero Suit Samus. No, I'm changing my mind again. Cloud's gonna stay in. More Legacy than that. I just like playing Zero Suit Samus. That's just I've played her from when she was in Brawl, and you could start the match as her by holding down and B, I think, or something. So Anyway, that's it. That's my roster. So we'll have to see what goes on, how different Zach and my lists are, or how similar. I'm sure there's probably a lot of overlap, but I'm very curious as to see where he differed from me.
I have 41 right now. Okay, Marth, Roy, Ike, and Crom. I would I would I would lean towards cutting Crom instinctively, but I think to have like the pillar for Awakening as what Awakening did, have Ike for just the awesomeness of Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and now we have Marth and Roy. Maybe only one of them can stay. Falco is one I would be tempted by, only because of the the diminishing relevance of the Star Fox series itself. But Falco is just so cool ever since Melee. I want to see him be really cool again, you know. But when I look at Marth and Roy, I don't know which one I would pick over the other. Shit. And by the way, Sheik is an easy one to cut, like in terms of not being relevant, but I just like her play style. I think it's cool to have in the mix. Peach will go. Oh, Parrish. I know that that would never happen, but Peach, unfortunately, has perished. All right, so this is my 40 right now. Is this good to me? Is this good? Let me look down in the outs and see if there's anyone particularly egregious that stands out. It's sad seeing some of the like characters go like Steve and Banjo in terms of like representing their games, Bayonetta. But just I think for the health of the game, we can let Steve go. Banjo is not exactly adding a lot in terms of gameplay as well. That feels okay. Realistically, if we were to cut a cast down halfway, I do think some of the third-party ones would probably go. More of these third-party ones, like Joker, like Cloud, like Kazuya, but I think for the sake of like having that still that like remembering gaming, I think it's cooler to have those kind of characters versus like more more Fire Emblem characters, more Mario characters, like filling up the roster here. I think this is a cast of characters that I could sleep well knowing this is the next Smash roster. I think so. All right, so that's my choice. These are my 40. They're in. These are all out. So sorry for you, but we'll see how it goes when we bring it back together, huh? Alec, how'd it go?
Well, it was interesting. It was an interesting, as you'll be able to see from the video. I had a good time. Dropping caps, dropping everything. I don't know. It's just, yeah. I mean, I had a good time. I felt like I don't know. I feel like I might have played a little safe. I felt like with a lot of my picks, I definitely there was some spicier stuff that I had, and then I kind of changed my mind on. But I feel like my list makes sense. I was trying to think of like. I tried to sort of like position like legacy versus like new IPs. I kind of like tried to sort of play a fine dance between that kind of thing. But I feel like I look at my list and I feel like this is a good roster for like a new baseline to start on. That was, I guess, kind of part of what I was thinking about as well. So
yeah, I had a tough time deciding who would ultimately make the cut for like certain series and stuff, and like how much did I want to value like representing certain series versus others, and like whether it was personally just ones that I cared about, or if I should just be more like including of the whole like crossover event that it is.
Right.
I don't know. I think I made some interesting choices, but I don't think anything that crazy. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. I'm interested to see how different ours are here.
Yeah. That's the thing that I'm most interested in, is just seeing how different we have it. I'm sure there's plenty of overlap, but I'm curious as to what decisions we made to change. Because like, I definitely have maybe too much series representation in certain aspects, but But I don't know. Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Huh. Okay. Okay. I think it's interesting. I think you have more third-party support than I do. I actually dropped quite a bit of mine.
Okay, who do
Um,
you drop? Who
I dropped Snake. I dropped Hero, Ken and Ryu, Kazuya, Terry. I dropped like all the other fighting game reps.
mhm.
The major ones I kept were Simon Belmont, Mega Man, Sonic, and Cloud Strife. Those are like the big ones that I
Wow.
kept.
You
And I kind of went into my reasoning on my side, but
mhm. you
um,
cut you cut Joker? Interesting. All right.
I cut Joker. Yeah,
So
yeah. I think Persona 5 has had its time. It's
mhm.
it's it's still very popular, but I think it's kind of more or less hit its stride already. And I think that like as excellent and as fun as I'm and hype as I am to have him in the game, I think it's like it's kind of time to say farewells. Another other RPG protagonists can have their time in the sun. So
Yeah, I was trying to be
yeah.
mindful of trying to do capitalize still on that gaming crossover where like in a hypothetical reboot, like a lot of these are not likely ones to come back, but if I were to be able to
Mm,
pick, I would have all these just to have more represented. Um, and in terms of like Joker, I think he's like a fun character to play. Also, he's one of the more enjoyable as someone who like
definitely.
plays it and watches it competitively too. So I feel like he's valuable to have for that reason. And then
Mm,
Kazuya I ultimately had as my only fighting game character because yeah, I'm not a big fighting game guy, but Kazuya just for like the memes alone, I feel like he's been great in Smash Ultimate. He's been such a force, and that terms of gameplay, at least to be represented here would be cool.
I actually don't think I've really played the game since he came out because it was in Sephiroth and then Kazuya. I played when Sephiroth
Hmm.
was released in the game, but I don't think I've really touched the game since then. To be honest, like I have not even played as Sora, so um, I haven't dumped. Here I am. I have dumped out on the like trash. He's not even there anymore.
Okay, interesting. So your
Uh,
Star Fox representation is Fox and Wolf, right?
yes.
I have Fox and
So
Falco.
it was one of the toughest decisions. This is actually one of the
I've
toughest
ever made
decisions
in
I
my
had.
life.
In terms of my list, I was debating it back and forth the whole time because like all three of them play almost exactly the same, and that's kind of the thing that I don't really care so much about them.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I thought of so I start off the list on the final roster. The core 12 Smash Brothers characters, I think, still have should be there, and I think you were
Yeah,
more or less the same. I think.
I think I do have all of them in
Um,
there.
yeah. So Mario, DK, Link, Samus, Kirby, Yoshi, Fox, Pikachu, Luigi, Ness, Captain Falcon, and Jigglypuff. I think having that core uh 12, I
Yeah,
think just for the sake of like that's like the essence of Smash Brothers, I think. Having that like present is important. So playing off that, I think of like hero, and I sort of talked about this, heroes, sidekicks, and villains. So like weighing villains is more, it can sometimes be more interesting. Having sidekicks can also be more interesting depending on what we're going with here. So Mario gets a lot of representation. He gets probably maybe too much. Looking at my list now, I may have given Mario a little too much representation, but um I favored Rosalina and Luma over the Ice Climbers because even though the ice climbers are like have a little bit more of like they're fun to play as. I'm just like nobody cares about the game that they came from. Like no one cares about Ice Climber. It's not a very good video game. Like
yeah.
being honest. Um, so I thought like Rosalie and Luma, very popular, very kind of similar. It's not the exact same, but it's a very similar like two player kind of dynamic where it's like you're controlling two characters at the same time. Um, so I kind of like thought about
Yeah, I
that,
think
but
I did it
maybe
because of the Mario representation. I didn't have that many Mario
yeah,
characters, like
yeah,
especially when we're paring it down. But in terms of the Fox and
yeah.
Falco and Wolf I
Mhm.
think is probably cooler and
Yeah.
he's definitely more unique than the other two in terms of gameplay, but I think Fox and Falco are more iconic in terms of like Smash Bros. History, and I think it would
Yeah,
be
that
cool. Like I think the Falco is kind of not as exciting in this game, but I think especially with a reboot, they could always there's room for them to spice things up with them. And if you just boil it
yeah.
down to those two, maybe they can do something interesting with them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I thought like heroes and villains to me it was like it's like the dynamic I tried to favor a little bit more. I think. So
I would have liked to have
that's
Wolf
why I
there,
had
but I couldn't in good conscience. I was like, all right, Star Fox as a series, like they're not doing anything with it, so and you can't
yeah.
have three representatives from Star Fox. So I'm
No,
cutting
you
it down.
couldn't. I'm trying to see who your Fire Emblem representation is.
Okay, so Fire Emblem, I did go Marth, Roy, and Ike,
Okay,
um,
and
and
Crom.
Crom.
That's
So
fascinating. I couldn't do that. I was like, all right. So we got Marth. I think Marth for the legacy. To me,
yeah,
I was like, who else are we gonna keep in Fire Emblem? I wanted to keep like Lucina in or something like that. I wanted to try to keep more than. I almost feel like I could alter the list to maybe have someone like Corrin or Byleth in because they add a little bit more variety. But I was like, if we're going for like the two most important and interesting characters that we could have alongside Marth, I don't want just another sword fighter. I want someone who's a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more has a little bit more going on than just swordplay. So I was thinking either Byleth or Robin, and I sided with Robin because I thought of Fire Emblem Awakening being really popular, but I also thought just like having magic is really cool. To have a sword fighter being able to use magic,
yeah, it's
use range
fair.
attacks. It's like Link has that to a degree, but his is more like like tools. And I thought having a sword fighter also being able to use magic was pretty cool. So
It's fair. Ultimately, it might be just because I really don't enjoy playing Robin, so that bias might have come in. Or like I never
that's
even considered Robin. Uh,
yeah.
but looking at it now, I probably would take out Roy, but I just felt bad. I haven't felt like keeping Martha and Roy
Yeah.
together would be cool. But I ultimately really wanted to have Marth, Ike, and Crom to represent like three different
Mm,
pillars. Just because Ike is like my favorite of the Fire Emblem games. And Crom, yeah, same thing as you with Fire Emblem Awakening. Wanted to have that represented as well, but and I just personally enjoy playing Crom more than Robin.
I
But
I think to me, I don't remember if I said this in the video or not. I may have thought about this outside of it, but like keeping Ike in the game would be a good idea if Nintendo finally freaking does what they should
yeah,
have done a long time ago and remastering or remaking the Path of Radiance duology. Just do it. Just do the Radiant like the
yeah,
Radiant
yeah, the Radiant collection.
games. Yeah.
In my reality, yeah, they are going to do that. So
They better freaking do that.
they're
That's all I have
going
to say.
to alongside
I'm
the
not
release
paying
of my
200
Smash
I'm
Bros.
not
So
paying $200 for one game that's not all that rare, and I'm not paying upwards of 90 for another game that's also not that rare because it came out on the freaking Wii. All
mhm,
right, so
yeah.
um,
All right. So one thing I did was mindful of was I cut Palutena because Kid
okay,
Icarus is another one of those things that's if it weren't for Uprising would have gone the way of Ice Climbers in terms of relevance. So it was already like I think one representative is generous enough. I like playing as
yeah,
Palutena, but it just didn't seem right to have
yeah,
more.
yeah. You're kind of right on that. I kind of just like me. I thought more like kind of hopeful, like having Kid Icarus is like a the revitalization of a franchise. I really want
Mhm.
Nintendo to do more with it. I'm hoping that they do more with it, even if it's just something weird like, oh, we're bringing Kid Icarus Uprising to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's like, huh? Like, how are you gonna do that? Like, even if it's something weird like that they do,
Yeah.
um, would be something. I think looking back, I probably would swap Palutena out. Now that I'm looking at it, I probably would swap Palutena out with somebody, but I don't. Who would be? I don't know off the top of my head. Um,
I'm trying to see if you have any
one thing that
glaring omissions here.
yeah, one thing that was really I thought was really interesting, an interesting idea. I said it very stupidly on my side. Um, but having Pokemon Trainer actually use more Pokemon than Gen 1. I was like, I admitted to a lot of Gen 1 bias in my list because I got Pikachu, Jigglypuff, and Mewtwo.
Yeah.
I had Lucario for a little bit, but I eventually sided on Mewtwo because I felt like Mewtwo has more legacy behind him. And I said, for your new stuff, why not have the Pokemon Trainer have stuff like Charizard or have Greninja or Incineroar? Like, have the Pokemon Trainer have those characters. Like, it doesn't have to be like the Tri-Evolution. Have like epic starters that everybody loves from that you have in the game. Have them swap between those. That would be fun. That'd be interesting. Greninja could have like some weaker attacks because he's like fast and quick, and Incineroar could have like the heavy stuff because he's big. And I don't know. Have a grass starter as well. Because I think doing that would be fun. It's like, yeah, the work would be more cut out to them because you've got less, they'd have to put more resources into doing that in every game. But I think it could be kind of fun to have more representation to different starters throughout. Like, that's where you could put your newer stuff in and then keep having, like, you have your classic Gen 1 Pokemon.
All right, so I kept Joker, Hero, Sora, Cloud, Kazuya, Snake. I kept all these boys because
I wanted to keep Snake in.
Yeah, I mean Snake just for variety's sake in terms of gameplay is the main reason I wanted to keep him as well.
It's actually that's a good call.
And like some of these aren't my favorite to play as, like personally, but they're just such iconic characters, and it represents more different series than just like more Mario characters or other things we've already seen. That's kind of where I was at with it.
Yeah, looking on, I almost feel like there could be slots that could be filled with some like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom characters could go into places here. Should make it kind of fun and interesting.
Well,
have any of the 4 champions show up?
Yeah, but this is cutting down the roster. Then we'd obviously.
Oh no! I know. No, what I'm saying is like some of the gaps and stuff in that I feel like I may have created could be better. I could almost swap out some of those characters to better fill out my roster. Like filling out the ones that I kept in, because it's like, yeah, they'll be filled in by other people. But
I do have Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man all in here.
Yeah,
too.
you have a lot of third party. I feel like I had Pac-Man for a little bit. I think the reason that I eventually opted Snake out was because I was looking at like, who do we have for like, who is our third party representation? I realized we had Konami in two spots, and I'm like, Simon Belmont's got a little bit more legacy behind him. I like Solid Snake, having him for like that Kojima sort of, he asked, he wanted Sakurai to have him in the game, but I was like, he doesn't work there anymore. Snake's not his character.
Put Norman Reedus in.
As much as I think it would be fun to continue to have him, I opted not to. So, but Cloud I wanted in as well, because I think having him in for the continued relevance of Final Fantasy VII, and he's also just like the most iconic, well-known JRPG character of all time. So,
Kirby characters, I just boiled down to Kirby and Meta Knight. I took out DDD.
DDD, okay.
And I took out Ridley.
That's fair.
For Metroid also.
Dang. I did not do that. I took out... Yeah, Echo Fighters were like the easiest thing in the world to kick out. It was like Dark Samus. Yeah. Daisy, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's of interest.
We both took out...
Did you take Bayonetta? Yeah, you took out Bayonetta, which is interesting.
Yeah, we've taken out the game killers. I took out Bayonetta. I took out Steve. They can both go burn in hell. So
the game killers?
Yeah. Bayonetta killed Smash 4. Steve is killing Smash Ultimate currently. So.
Oh, is that kind of what's going on? Really?
Yeah. Well, not it's exaggerating, but he is like super overpowered, and just not the most fun to watch as a character, but
I didn't. So what exactly makes him? I guess it's sort of off topic, but what does he do that makes him really powerful?
he's just got a lot of options. He has like super powerful moves that like so many of his moves kill. Super quick moves and he's like so quick for him to get diamond and stuff like that, which makes his moves really strong.
Oh,
Minecart
yeah.
is really powerful. Just a lot of some cheap stuff, but you know,
Okay.
I thought about it. I thought about it with him just for the representation's sake, but
Yeah, because Minecraft is huge, but yeah.
and then we both have Shulk and not Pyromithra, so that's
Yeah.
fair.
Shulk is sort of the general Xenoblade representation. I don't. Xenoblade 2 is huge, but I think Shulk as a representative of that franchise as a whole is more important.
Mm-hmm.
I was also sort of tossed up between Villager and Isabel. I eventually opted just for. I wasn't like didn't think too hard about it, but I was like, I like Isabel's moveset probably a little bit more than Villager's, but I think Villager as a representative for the series as a whole is probably a little bit better.
Yeah, I think you just Villager. Isabel is too similar, and I don't think.
Yeah.
I think if anything, if you want to do a different one, you could come up with a more interesting other character to do, like for Animal Crossing. But I did my one little bit of spice I added was that I put in Sheik and took out Zelda.
Yeah,
so only Sheik in the
interesting.
game.
I actually talked about Sheik not being relevant since like 2011.
For sure.
So I was like, Sheik is great. I love playing Sheik. If I'm picking a Zelda character, it's probably going to be like that or Link. But
yeah, I just did
yeah.
in terms of gameplay, and then I'm like, what if I just made it Sheik instead of Zelda? Zelda only comes in the form of Sheik. That's all you get. That's my own little spice on it. And yeah, I think we're mostly on the same page here.
I think we are a little bit.
You have no Sora.
Yeah, I feel like thinking. Yeah, it's tough. But I sort of thought like Square Enix, we already had like Cloud. I was thinking of like we'd only really be able to keep like certain crossover characters, and I think like Cloud is like a bigger deal. Sora is like huge in and of himself, but
I mean,
but yeah,
Joker is actually would be at like the top of my list for ones that I would really like to stay out of the third parties because of how much fun he is as a character to play and to watch.
He's very fun. I will admit that. I just sort of immediately discounted it because I was like, he's great. But I just sort of thought like make room for things that are a little less recent. I guess I was sort of thinking legacy a little bit, but with a lot of mine.
I might have taken out too many of the villains for sure because I did take out like K. Rool also. I took out K. Rool and Ridley. And
I think having them is important. I like having the sort of dichotomy: Mario, Bowser, Link, Ganondorf, DK, K. Rool.
Yeah,
Pikachu, Mewtwo. You could consider Mewtwo a villain to a degree. So
yeah, I could see myself taking out like Roy and Ice Climbers maybe for them. Ice Climbers just as like the unique kind of character, and just to see them return.
They are.
Like,
you don't really see stuff like that, yeah.
But that's one of those games for sure where it's like they're not doing anything with Ice Climber, right? It's like,
yeah,
it's the most like I can't even imagine how they would do it in an enticing enough way for it to sell well. Like it's the most unmarketable game. It feels like.
Yeah.
Like
what's those old black box Nintendo games are just very like they kind of a flat line. They were like interesting, like unique little oddities back in the day, but like you try to play them now, you're just like, these belong in like the NES remix games, and that's about it. Like, just put them on that, and then that's about all you really need to. Y'all really need to say about those.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I would love like an open world Ice Climber game to drop next year, I don't think it's gonna happen. An ambitious open world with a bigger map than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's
like massive ice climber. You just climb
ice climber
the game. I'm glad we do have some like good overlap though. Like we got like Ness, we've got Little Mac, we have Olimar,
You gotta have
and
Olimar,
Inkling as well. I think Inkling is like a good like that's the new fresh face of Nintendo there. I think that's good to have that. So, but yeah, cool. Nothing too crazy, I don't think. I mean, definitely have some variation on the list. I think you had a lot more third party. That's what I said. I think I played a little too safe, maybe.
Yeah, if you're giving me the keys and I can cut whoever I want, then I'm gonna keep these
It's true.
these valuable pieces. Give me Hero, give me Joker, give me Sora, give me Kazuya, Snake.
Hero is very, very fun, I will say. It's just such a wild card.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it, I guess.
There you have it.
Who's got the better Smash roster? If you were to cut it in half, which one would you choose? Let us know.
Yeah, mine. Yours, Zach's, or your own.
We're going to post a poll below. It's either mine or yours are the two options.
Yeah, okay.
Which one's better?
Okay. That's it. All right, cool.
I'm glad we took out Mr. Game & Watch, Wii Fit Trainer. I wasn't as spicy as I would have thought, though. I could have seen myself putting Wii Fit Trainer in there for no good reason. I would love that.
Yeah, I was sort of like, I when I went through those, I was like, they're not doing anything with these characters. Like Game & Watch, he hasn't been relevant. Like he was like a neat little thing to have in there to like nod to Nintendo's past, but I'm like, do we really need him?
No. Some like Incineroar is really fun to play as. Just the characters, no way to justify it in my mind to keep out of all these Pokemon. Yeah,
pretty much.
All right, that's it. Right. Thank you for watching. Yeah. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, like the video, leave a comment letting us know your thoughts, which one's better. And if you do leave a comment, we'll read it on the next episode of the Tarqaron podcast. All right. In the meantime, why don't you go check out our recent updated tier list of everything we've ever reviewed. We did our third iteration of it. Hundreds of things that we've reviewed on the channel at this point, all ranked in one tier list. All right. Check it out. And take care of yourself.